Court of the Edijester, everybody. How are you doing? November. Right, come and be a warrior teacher. Do I go on? But yes, come and be a warrior teacher. It's November. Everybody seen Trump's speech this morning? If you haven't seen Trump's speech this morning, you'll find a link to it in the Dewberries. It's a very interesting speech, and I suggest that you go and have a look because it raises an awful lot of questions, not least of which is, if Trump is forcing the social medials to be truthful, honest and non-manipulative, if he is pushing them to provide platforms that are free from censorship, will that apply where? That's the question I'd like answered first. Where will that apply? So is it going to apply in the UK? Or can we, as we seem to be doing going forward, apply censorship laws as we wish on these companies? How will these companies manage this? Does that mean that we will no longer get American content? There's loads of interesting questions that come out of this speech that he's made. But my God, he's going for the lunatics, the blob, so to speak. And I think if Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch have got any sense, they'll be paying a lot of attention to that. Because the future is coming. And the future is anti-censorship. And censorship must end in every country where it occurs, not least of all here in the UK. It's fascinating to me that we now have a situation whereby YouTube, Facebook, X, whatever it may be, are allowed to do what they do and do it with impunity. And I've been saying that's not the way forward for a very long time. However, unlike many in the GC world, I don't think censorship is the way forward, nor is control. It is to make free the ability to speak and to prevent them from censoring and manipulating in the way that they have been doing. You've only got to go on Facebook and say the wrong thing to get yourself banned from groups, and we like you to be nice, all the rubbish that comes with it. This is in the same breath, I say this, as we've had one of the Australian areas come out and say that they're going to make social media not available to under 16s. Good luck with that. That's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea, not least of which because how are they going to know, right? So how are they going to know? So I'm 14 and I'm like, right, naughty boy, let's get on the internet and go and hunt out something that I shouldn't be seeing, which is, believe me, what naughty 14-year-old boys do. In fact, what every 14-year-old boy would do, right? So there I am, right? What do I need to do? Well, I've got to be 16, so there'll be some kind of ID that shows that I'm sick. Oh, my birth certificate. I need somebody else's birth certificate to do it, don't I? So there's your first loophole, right? Your second loophole is, what do these people do with this information once they've got it? It's a terrible idea, and it's a terrible idea because they failed to bring in digital IDs with the adults. They're going to do it with the next generation, because by the time the next generation gets to 16, prove they are, then your digital ID and your tracking system is in place. It's an awful idea, and yet we've got GC people going, oh, that's rather good, isn't it? No, it's not. It's a terrible idea. Something else came up yesterday as well that was interesting. During my mull, I think it was one of the trans widows accounts. I put something up. You know what? I just put things up and go, no. And people go, why? Explain, because I'd rather you bloody thought about it, right? What was it about? Oh, I've got to remember now. Oh, it was about trans being classed as a disability, or dysphoria being classed as a disability. No, absolutely not. No, we're not giving it that kind of status, right? Gender dysphoria is a fake a thing anyway. It doesn't exist. It's not real. It's something else altogether. But it certainly isn't a disability. Certainly not. You cannot give it that. If you give gender dysphoria the status of disability, you give the cross-dressing LARPing men the status of disability, and we're not having that, right? Next, right, it's CNN. Oh my God, CNN have got this video of this bloke going absolutely batshit on a channel about a guy who says that trans girls are boys, and vice versa, right? So I thought we'd give you a look at that. So have a look at this, watch this, and he goes on for a couple of minutes. This is extraordinary.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Sharmichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this since I'm being targeted here.
I don't
There-
hear
no,
that.
no,
Just
it's
to be clear,
okay.
you are not being
But
targeted.
I am, but it's okay.
I'm specifically
It's okay.
saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not. But he wants to sit here
I'm not
and
calling you
bloviate
transphobic.
and
I'm saying you're using a phrase
I want to
that
give
you
you an
know.
opportunity.
So the way
to
regular
rephrase
people
it.
interpret it,
That's not
which is why
regular
those
people.
ads were
That's not
effective.
regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and we're
case,
using
but
that
my point in
to
terms
take
of
away
its
healthcare from
effectiveness.
thousands of people.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness, regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested that they were
lying
working.
in those ads over and over again and using rhetoric like you just used, saying this is boys playing girls sports.
But
Which, first of all, we're talking about
what's the
5 people
language?
in the
What's the
entire
language
country.
you would prefer?
We're talking about trans girls being allowed to play with the people who are in their gender. And if you don't believe, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to the American Medical Association, the American Psychological Association.
The American Medical
Association. This is not about the
Guys,
issue, right?
just one second.
This is about.
What do you make of that? That is what we'll see. See, that is what we'll now see. That little owl-faced sprite, that bloke, who's he said, what was it he said that made me laugh? We're talking about a tiny percentage of the population. Thousands of people are going to suffer. They are so deranged, but his little owl face, right? They're going on and on. And the bloke's just looking at him thinking, you're nuts, mate. They are nuts. Speak the truth. Do it clearly. Do not use their language. Do not use their words. It is the only way forward. Second, we're going to have to... Second? What do I mean? I didn't even say first. Who am I talking to? Oh, it's me. Right? So, the other thing I've got is this. Have a listen to this, because this is something else. Right? This is a teacher losing it in the class.
This shit is not a fucking game. Does that make sense, everybody? Can't emphasize this enough. Can you end up in a concentration camp in your lifetime? Yes. Can you end up with no human rights? Yes. Will it happen to you? Most likely not. Which is a good thing. But has Donald Trump quoted Hitler? Yes. Does he embody some of Hitler's ideas? Yes.
Isn't that extraordinary? Well, now, in addition to everything else, we're going to have to look at teachers and see what they're doing, because they're playing silly beggars with this nonsense. They really are. Now, this isn't going to happen here for a few years, because we've got these that queer harmers in place, isn't it? But eventually, we're going to call for the same stuff. No censorship. You see, the biggest and the greatest threat to our cohesion as a society is utopianism. Right? The belief that we can reach a collective utopia. Because that eschews the fact that the only concept of utopianism that exists is the one that says that we should try to be the best that we should be, and that is our individual responsibility. So the left is the antithesis of that, right? So they're after the collectivism and all that stuff. That's utopia. And one of the greatest tools of utopianism is censorship. Like it or not, it is. So we have to be anti-censorship of any kind, along the lines of what Trump said in his speech. So free speech becomes sacrosanct. We need the same in this country. The future is coming. It is time to stop pretending that the mainstream media have got a stranglehold on what information people get. It's up to people to make up their own mind, and if they fall for nonsense, that's their own fault, which I do often when I get one of these really clever Twitter accounts that's a kind of satirical account hiding, and it'll say something and I'll go, blah, 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 blah. And then somebody will go, it's satire. I go, damn it, they got me again. We all do that. You know we do. They can be really clever. So this fact of, we're going to control it all so that you don't hear anything that might be wrong, or that you don't hear anything that might be naughty, ends. Censorship goes. No censorship whatsoever. Absolutely not. And the focus by these media companies should be, as Trump has already said, on the removal of existing legal content. But no content should be removed unless it is illegal. And as Trump had mentioned in his speech, it must therefore go to due process, what's called a digital due process, he called it. I thought that was a good idea. So you're going to tell me what you think about all this. In the Dubris, as you always do, bless you, right? Thank you all for your support. It's so good to get it. Buy me a coffee, become be a warrior teacher. Other than that, go on, let's keep going. It's another day.